Hey guys, Shane here at Tanko Diminishes, and today I'm going to be going through how to Rhino Rush effectively with each faction that you should be doing it with. So this is a bit of a weird one, but it's one I've really felt I needed to make for a long time now. Just haven't really had the opportunity. I had other stuff doing, but anyway. So of course, Rhino Rushing was a big part of older editions. Back when terrain wasn't used so much, you had to protect, your guys, so you had to use your vehicles, and vehicles, with your armor, the armor sides, it wasn't easy to just ping wounds off. You had to have a specific weapon, and they were very costly, so, and the other thing was, transports were really cheap. So, yeah, you could just have rhinos running around doing stuff, and also the board was a lot bigger, the 6x4. So, it's not really used as much. Like, it stopped getting used last edition really heavily, because it's like, why would I buy a transport when I could just buy more models to just take up their place? And yeah, but I feel like it's still relevant. It's not nearly as relevant as it used to be, but it definitely needs to be used in certain ways. And there is a lot of armies that use it. There's a lot of ways you can use it effectively, but I don't feel it's really talked about as much. I'm not sure how much tournament is really using it, but I mean, there are some really fun, really strong ways you can use this. So let's just get straight into it, going in alphabetical order, because that's the way these photos were saved. So starting with our good old Adeptus Custodes. Now, of course, you don't really have rhinos for them. You have a couple of other options, going the Land Raider. Land Raider is very expensive, so you can pick them. I've seen most Custodian armies just bring some guys in there. I feel the new Solar Spearhead, that's going to be pretty useful, because of course you can just go unstoppable, put a Land Raider straight through a wall, and then just deploy out. And of course you have the Assault Ramp rule for the Land Raider, so that's going to be really handy. Just going straight into a charge from there. While a Synchronous Grav Carrier, that lets you to reroll the wound. And, while Custodes are really good at hitting, really good at shooting, and in combat, they're always hitting on 2s or whatever. The strength is always, it's good, but it's not like super good. So being able to reroll the wound just to guarantee you get that is really good. So the Grav Carrier is a very underutilized one, I feel. You can get some good, buffs from that, and just charge in with your Land Raider, either, your Land Raider or your Grav Carrier, and get some shooting off or some good charges, and that will really help your game. And of course, you've got the Sister of Silence Rhino there. I feel Rhino Rushing with Sisters is alright. Like, they're pretty squishy, because they're basically just Sisters of Battle, and you generally don't want them just standing out on their own, especially because they don't have any real special weapons. I feel the only good ones are the ones with the great swords. They're really, sort of strong. So whilst probably you should Rhino Rush with the Sisters of Silence, I don't think it's a very good army, just flat out. So you wouldn't go the Solar Spearhead. I guess you could, but it would be really wasted there. You'd probably go the more Sisters of Silence one. Their special detachment, but that really gives you no bonuses for using transports at all. So you can pretty much pick whatever you want. It's not going to matter. So yeah, Adeptus Custodes, this is how you're going to Rhino Rush. You're going to do it with either your Grav Carrier or your Land Raider. Now, Adeptus Mechanicus, they have some really fun ways you can do this. Because the Dune Rider is really good. It's a really good transport. Surprisingly enough, it doesn't have fly. I always thought it did, because it's like hovering. It doesn't have wheels, but it can't fly. So that's interesting. But anyway, as you can see, that has the fire support. So that's going to give you the reroll wound as well. Really handy, because you have a lot of with the Vanguard or the Rangers, you got a lot of really good weapons, and a lot of them. So that's really going to be helpful. As for which detachment you should be using. As you can see, either the Explorator, because that's got a good strat there. It's expensive though, where you add one to the wound roll, and that in conjunction with the reroll to wound, you're going to be able to take out some pretty big things with just normal sort of guys there. That's really going to be helpful. And you've got the other one, so you can sort of have your transports give the smoke, you can give cover to them. That's really good, keeping them all together. And of course, you've got that embark when you're charged. That's a real good way of keeping your guys protected. So it's a very fast-moving Skitarii army, where you can use these guys to just, get in the right position, get the objective markers, and yeah, really do some damage. So I feel that's another good one. Now, however, the new one they've got, the Halo Screed, doesn't have the specific ones that the Explorator has, but you'll get this one here, the Aggressive Impulse. Lets you charge out of the Dune Rider. So essentially gives it, like the Land Raider rule for your Dune Riders. Now, the thing about that is you can put the big guys with the big blades. They still only take up, even though they're larger model, they're like 40 mil base, they only take up one spot. So you can put them all in a Dune Rider. You can have a full squad in there, come out, do the charge, and they deal damage. They wreak havoc. And you can even give them the extra movement, because of course the Noon Sphere transfer, that applies to stuff inside transports as well. So you can do some good stuff buffing these guys, before they've even got out to do their thing. So you got a couple of options there. I'd say if you're going for close combat, bringing these Rust Stalkers, that's them, the Rust Stalkers, and just want to move up, charge, do some damage, this is going to be pretty good. This is if you want to go very aggressive. If you want to go more tactical, more surgical in what you're doing, go the Explorator. And I just wanted to put there if you are using Legends, the Termite there, I feel it's a really great model. I miss it. But, it's there. It's still there. It doesn't have a lot of, because, yeah, you can just sort of park it there and disembark from it. So it's alright. I feel the Termite's more for having a transport that deals damage. Because if you're going to deep strike in, you've got the flyer guys. I feel they're probably the better option, just dumping them in from the sky if you were going to try and do that. So next, of course, we got the Adeptus Sororitas, our Sisters of Battle. So this one, I'd say you really should be, even if you're not even playing the Bringers of Flame detachment, you really should be Rhino rushing anyway. As I said, with the Sisters of Silence, Sisters are really squishy with only toughness 3. They got a 3-up armor save, but if you're out in the open, and there's a lot of stuff that can, ignore cover, it's really hard to keep them alive. And a lot of times you don't want to keep them alive. You want them to martyr themselves, but, to a point. You don't want to lose your whole army, so... even though this was pretty hurt with the nerf that Bringers of Flame got, I still think it's fine. And especially if you're Rhino rushing, because you can get pretty danger close. You can get within 6 most of the time. As you can see, transports are pretty fast. And you've got, of course, the pretty good strats here for getting out and really doing some damage. I would suggest, if you had the Immolator, because you can split the Battle Sister squads as well. And Battle Sisters are really great for taking objectives because they can hold them. But if you want to bring in a Dominion squad, so what does Cleanse and Clean give? Yeah, removes cover. So even if you've had just bolters, someone with a lot of shots, and they're relying on their cover save to really help them, that's really gonna do well. So, but it doesn't matter too much. I think the Repressor, if you are playing with Legends, I think the last game I played against Josh, we used the Repressors with the Heavy Flamers in them, and they were a nightmare to deal with. So they're really fun to use, Repressors. I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's a great model. It's a great model. So yeah, you've got a lot of good ways to Rhino Rush with Sisters of Battle. I think they are the ones that really are taking it over, even more than where Space Marines used to be the big target, the big guys you'd say you should be Rhino Rushing with. Now I think Sisters of Battle are taking that preference. Eldari. So Eldar got some cool new stuff to let them do this. As you see with their replacement of their fate dice, they now have their new battle focus thing. So this is a really interesting one. So with fade back, so if something's been shot at, you can use fade back, and this has been confirmed. You can then use that to embark a transport. So if you have a wave serpent nearby your guys, and your guys are getting shot, and you want to keep them alive, you can use that to quickly pull them back inside the transport with that move. And of course, with the star engines, you can get really fast because these guys are already 14-inch movement. Yeah, you can trigger these guys to come out really well, especially with the Falcon with its fire support. So you're also getting that reroll to wound, and you can get a lot of damage off with just a bunch of shuriken bolters or whatever. Yeah, or even with some Dark Reapers, their missile launchers, that's gonna hurt your fire support through that. And I don't think they're not very expensive. So you could bring a lot of Wave Serpents, and they're hard to get rid of as well. And they're very fast, very good, and they actually have fly, so you can just take them wherever. Of course, the only downside is their lower toughness, but it's still toughness 9. So it's not that big a deal. So yeah, you got some fun abilities, and yeah, the new Armored Warhost is probably the one you're going to be wanting to use it. As you can see, the new Aspect Host one, the only real strategy they have is just allowing you to embark at the end of the fight phase. That's alright. Like I said, you got other ways you can pull them back into their transports, but that's a nice one to have. But the Aspect Host is a more generic one, whilst the Armored Warhost with a skilled crew, that's very much more for using vehicles, and I feel it is more of this Rhino Rush, this transport strategy, than it is, say, some of the other ones, like for the Space Marines, where it's just do as much damage as you can with this detachment. This one is more, use them a bit more subtly. You're moving around faster and you're maneuvering, so it's very much a maneuvering whole theme there. So definitely some good stuff for the Eldar. And I'm not sure what the actual meta is. I know when I'm playing them and they bring out the Wraith Guard, they're really hard to put away. And yeah, you can put them in a Wave Serpent, they can come out. That's pretty terrifying as well. So yeah, maybe people are going to go more the Wraith Guard, but I feel you could really do a lot of effective stuff going full Wave Serpent spam and Falcon spam with the Eldar. Astra Militarum, so Guard. Again, new detachments. The Mechanized Assault one is specifically for doing this, for Chimera and Taurox rushing. That's what it is for. So again, you've got that extra movement for the swift interception. You've got the hasty extraction for getting the guys back in the transports. So yeah, very maneuverable. And you can even just use the normal combined arms, because that has a pretty good sync with your, supporting your soldiers with your transport tanks. Because it doesn't say, it says squadron, so you assume they're meaning Leman Russ, but, that can just be a Chimera. It's the same thing. So, yeah, they can definitely buff each other in the same way. And, yeah, so you have a lot of fun there with going full Chimera Rush. It's a good strategy. The thing that was informed to me watching one of Winter's latest battles was, if, of course, you take the armored the Hammers of the Emperor. You know, with that, they add 6 to the advancement for Squadron. As he was saying, use that on the Taurox, because of course that can advance and still disembark. And you just put a bunch of Kasrkins because they have Scout. So you're moving an extra, you're basically moving 24 inches. Yeah, you're already up 6 inches, and then you move 18 inches. It's insane. And you're just straight in the backfield, turn 1 with Taurox Rush. And Kasrkins are just out there doing damage. That's pretty obscene. So, you know, normal Chimera, you know, that's fine. It's a bit tougher than the other ones. That's what it's got, and it can give out the orders, so you can keep people safe. And of course, Taurox Prime, you have the support there, where you can get the extra hit roll, and that can be, you know, that can be really effective. So, I don't think there's a bad way to do it. There's some pretty, like, I'm yet to see someone actually do this Taurox Rush. It's going to be pretty nasty. I think, though, if you can weather the first sort of volley, when it first comes out, then you can hold on, because, of course, they're guardsmen. They're squishier than Sisters of Battle, so you should be able to take him out pretty fast, but it's just, yeah, surviving that first initial attack. So we'll wait and see what comes of that. So Chaos Space Marines, and to a lesser point, Death Guard and World Eaters, Thousand Suns. The only one that really has the detachment for Rhino rushing really good is, of course, the Renegade Raiders, playing our old, yeah, Crimson I forget their name, but anyway. So, yeah, it's very much like we saw with the Skitarii one. It's, you got to take the objectives. You got to go where the points are worth something, and you know, you got really fast. These guys have always been super fast with this detachment. So, yeah, you get the bonus there with Ruinous Raid. You know, re-rolling the hit roll and the wound roll. And it's like, yes, it's just the objective marker, but that's where you want to be. That's where, of course, they've planted something really important to hold it, and you're going to go take it now. The negative side to Chaos Space Marines is that's it for your transports. It's a Land Raider and a Rhino. So if you're going to be shooting out of it, you know, put some Legionnaires, put some Plague Marines, Thousand Suns guys, you know, you put them in the Rhino. And of course, if you want to charge out of it with like Chosen or Terminators, then you got the Land Raider. So there's not a lot of choice. It's pretty bare with what you can do for Space Marines here. So even though this is the one that sort of helps you do it, it's almost like you're just as effective playing anything. Like playing Death Guard, you don't really have any bonuses for going out of your transports or whatever. You don't get the fire support with anything. But it's nice to have, you know, Rhinos, because you got the extra bubble of contagion. So that can be really handy, having something there that's just debuffing everything in a larger area, because it's got a larger footprint. So it's definitely good to do with something like Death Guard. I've seen people do it with World Eaters, where they just take the Land Raiders, fill them full of the Chosen and your Terminators, and just run them up the board, because Land Raiders are hard to get rid of, and you just want to be charging out of it, so it's a nice buff to that. But then again, you could just bring Angron and just have him do that, and, you know, put the points invested in him. So it's a nice thing you can do with them. I don't think it's super popular for World Eaters to be Rhino rushing. I think they feel they can be doing other stuff with the extra points, but yeah. It's definitely an option, just not a great one for them. So Drukhari, Dark Eldar. Pretty much it's the only way to play them. The Sky Splinter Assault is about their best detachment at the moment. As you can see, there's some really good abilities you can get with this, with the Nightmare Shroud. You know, you can come out of the Raider and then, you know, ignore Overwatch. That's always like your deterrent to like come out and try and charge because you're going to eat the Overwatch. So ignoring that can be pretty handy. And aside from that, everything again with the Eldar is about movement. It's about getting around things. But in this case as well, it's about dealing damage and really hurting things just as much as it is being more mobile. So they are incredible at inflicting pain. And yeah, they are also kind of squishy. You know, toughness 8 for the Raider, only a 4-up save, 6-up invuln. That's not good, but they're fast. That's where they're trying to make up for their lack of defenses. So if you can do it right, they're also very cheap as well. So yeah, you can deal a lot of damage with these guys. So it's pretty much, yeah, like I said, the only real way to play Dark Eldar, if you're going to be going on a bigger board. Yeah, it's just, unless you're being really cagey around the terrain, it can be hard to keep all you guys alive before they're able to get to the other side of the table. Genestealer cults. So this is a good one. I love this detachment, the Outlander Claw. I think it's really fun because I love the vehicles. I love Genestealer vehicles. I think they're really cool design because they're rugged. They're, you know, they're jury-rigged to be, assault, they're battle, but they're normal, like it's a truck. It's just a mining truck or whatever, and they've just turned it into a weapon. So I love the makeshift aspect of the Genestealer cult stuff. So yeah, you've got your extra, objective control for your trucks. So Goliath, yeah, the trucks, OC3, Rock Grinder, OC4. That's really handy because you can just park there and just stick on an objective even better. And of course, you've got some fun bonuses there. The cartographical data leech, having the increased ballistic skill when you're using firing deck. That's really cool because yeah, that's where sort of Genesteal is. They don't have the great ballistic skill. So that's really fun because yeah, you've got some good firing decks on all the vehicles, so that's a cool thing to be able to do. And of course, the Assault Commando. So yeah, you get out, reroll the hit roll, so that's cool, and just shoot everything with some guys. So these are all pretty fun. The only thing I'd say, yes, that's right, in the Goliath truck, so you get the fire support. That can be really helpful if you've got like a squad that has a bunch of hand flamers, because they're only strength 3. You've got a lot of them, but strength 3, getting the reroll on that, you know, that doubles its effectiveness essentially. So that is really handy to have that fire support. So yeah, this definitely encourages, and you know, a lot of times you're deep striking your guys anyway, but if you wanted to play something very different and just have a lot of trucks, a lot of vehicles, which is how I want to play, and just, you know, run in like that. And you still got the extra maneuverability. You can encircling prey. That's only 1 CP, and it's just, I'm out of here. I'll pop up wherever. That's really effective, especially in late game, where, you know, they might have pushed up the board. You want to go get their home objective to get points. That's going to come in really handy. So, yeah, I'm not sure how the close range shootout, like lethal hits, probably you want to, yeah, team that up with the Assault Commando, just so you're, you know, yeah, rerolling the hit roll. You're really utilizing the lethal hits coming through. You probably just want to reroll everything and just fish for the lethal hits in that case. The only thing it doesn't really do is support like charges. Nothing really gives the assault, and that's really what you want to be doing with a lot of the Genestealer sort of units. You want to be getting into combat. You're a hybrid army. You're not just shooting. You're like orcs. You want to be combat as well. So I feel that's where it sort of is let down. There's nothing really supporting you going into combat after coming out of the vehicle. That's the only real downside to this army. But then again, you know, like you got the rock grinder, and that really hurts in close combat. That does a lot of damage. So yeah, I guess if you go in with that, there's fun things you can do. I definitely love seeing, you know, a very vehicle heavy Gene Stealer cult army. Necrons, this is an interesting one. So if you want to go full Rhino Rush, just ignore the Monolith, because the Monolith is not really... I sort of thought about mentioning it, but the Monolith is more... It's like Drop Pod. It's like Steel Rain. You drop it down, things just come out of it. It's not really the same as just running up the board. Now, using the newest... the newest attachment, the Star Shatter Arsenal, which really helps the vehicles. I didn't think it actually helped like transports that much, but it does, you know, because it actually lets you go through walls, which is great. Ignoring the train feature, that can be really handy for getting around. Even though the Ghost Arc, it's slow, it's 10-inch movement, but it does have fly, so that's handy. But yeah, also then yeah, the reactive reposition. Again, you've got your warriors coming out of the whatchamacallit, the Ghost Arc, and then you can use that to get them back into the Ghost Arc after being shot. That can be really effective, because you want to keep these guys alive. So something gets down to like really small amount of like guys, like 3 left or something, get them back in there, pull them out, let them regenerate fully, then bring them back in. You can do that. You can just, yeah, let people reinforce and pull them out of combat. So yeah, really fun things here. As you can see, I've got the abilities up there for the Relentless Onslaught, because you can have your guys, you know, sort of near it, and it sort of helps it, so it's able to shoot when it falls back. And of course, you are able to protect it a bit with the Chrono Fields. So yeah, like I said, it's very much, you know, it's helping protect the vehicles themselves, the transports themselves. The only downside to this is you can only take warriors, and warriors aren't super great on their own. But the upside to that is you have a lot of them, because each one has 10 warriors in it. So you know, you're maxing this out, you've got 60 warriors, character in each of that's helping them as well, and you're just running up the board. Very hard to get rid of these guys as well. So it'd be interesting to Silver Tide with this Ghost Arc rush. I feel this could be really effective, and it's very scary. And Ghost Arcs are very hard to get rid of, because they, yeah, 14 wounds. That's like one of the highest wound counters of all transports. Toughness 9's a little low, but 4 up invul. It is so hard to chew through these guys. And the fact that, they're also helping with the reanimation protocols. They're keeping the warriors alive better. Like, this is a very hard to put down army. And even if it maxes out, this is cheap as well. So you've got a lot of room for other stuff. You could be bringing a lot of mounted stuff, like the bike guys. They can deal some damage as well. You can really have fun with this if you make your core of the army the Silver Rush with Ghost Arcs. I feel that's... it's more fun than just bringing Catan shards, so let's just say that. I don't know exactly, like I said, I don't know how effective it is, because you've only got warriors, and warriors aren't super strong. Immortals would be better, but you're limited to only warriors in the Ghost Arc. So take that as you will. Now, orcs are an interesting one, because you always want to be sort of coming up fast to an enemy. You do want to be having people in your trucks and your battle wagons. That's very orc. That's what you always see with orc. But as you can see, they don't have a lot of stuff that sort of buffs that. it's very disappointing. So the Adrenaline Junkies, yeah, you've got a couple of Cult of Speed, whatchamacallit, stratagems there, just to get the extra invul, and that Squig fling to get the Battle Shock. That's a fun one. Can come in clutch sometimes if you need to just drive by something and say, hey, be Battle Shocked. It can be, alright, that can be effective. But yeah, as you can see, the faster than use, yeah, you want that. You need like a big squad to be able to charge out of the transport, because unfortunately you don't really have that ability with the trucks or the battle wagons. You don't have assault ramps, which is very strange. We don't have anything with sort of assault ramps. I think what you're essentially looking for is to just have the truck or battle wagon die, and then everyone just gets out and then fights. You just ram straight into it. Don't worry about getting out of it, because it's going to fall apart anyway. I feel maybe they need something like that, where if the truck explodes or dies, then you can just make it like a reactive charge out of it. That would be pretty fun and very on theme. The crane strat is probably, it's like the funnest strat. It's like such an orc thing as well. The problem with it is you have to pay for it and then roll a 6 for deadly demise, not vice versa. So yeah, it's a 1 in 6 chance of it happening, and you still got to spend a command point either way. So it's if you could just spend it and it automatically explodes and does the thing, that would be a lot more effective. So yeah, the only thing I only mention that because Warhorde, that's just a good one if you're bringing a lot of boys, you know, just maximizing your attacks, because you can pretty much use any of the detachments for this, for truck spam and Rhino Rush with that. It doesn't make too much difference because nothing's really giving you that much of a bonus for going with this strategy. So that's a good thing in a way. You know, you're unlimited. You can just pick whatever you want. Everything's going to be just as effective as the next one. But yeah, we love when orcs do this. Yeah, it's definitely an option. Then of course Space Marines, the army that made Rhino Rushing synonymous. And we have a couple of options here. There isn't really a bad one, because I've only put the Firestorm Assault. I've only put that one in there. But even you had the Ironstorm one, where you've just got rerolls to hit. That's not bad. Rerolls to hit, wound, whatever. And the ability to buff your vehicles. Yeah, that's good. And, you know, your other one, you know, if you take Gladius Task Force, yeah, everything has Assault. For a turn, everything's got, you know, a lot of other abilities. There isn't like a super bad option for Space Marines. But this is the only one that really sort of is affected by going Rhino Rush with the strategies here. For your rapid embarkation, yeah, you're keeping stuff back alive. Yeah, adding the 1 to the hit roll. I mean, that can be good. Like, you're already hitting pretty well a lot of the time. I don't think that's going to be super effective. I mean, the Burning Vengeance, that one is super good though, because you can really goad people into really hurting themselves. What did we do that with? We did one of the armies where we had a reactive shooting phase, and it did more damage to them in my enemy's phase than they did to me in that phase. I think it was the Chaos one. But anyway, so Burning Vengeance is a very fun one. I've seen a lot of people have fun with that, goading people out just to eat it. The real thing is, what are you going to use in this army of Rhino Rushing? Because you can't really use Rhinos very effective anymore. So of course Rhinos, you can have Tactical Marines, nothing Primaris. It's all Firstborn. So while that's good, like, it still has a firing port, so you can put a guy with a plasma gun in there. I used to do that a lot. Just firing plasmas out of rhinos was cool. Just drive by like that. So rhinos are generally not what you want to use. It's not really that effective anymore. Yeah, it's sad, but yeah, a rhino is just not going to get much use from Space Marines at all anymore. Razorback, I feel, is a much more useful one. Even if you just go a low weapon, not even if you go like the twin las cannon, just go like the heavy bolter or whatever, because the fire support is going to be really effective if you've got something like a Devastator squad in there. Getting the reroll to wound for a Devastator squad, you know, whack it full of multi-melters or something. Yeah, putting them in, running them up. I forget if devs can take multi-melters, but whatever. Las cannon, something, you know, big, and run them up the board, get them out, get that fire support, and you are dealing a whole lot of damage really reliably with the Razorback. So I think the Razorback, even though it's not Primaris, you got some good combos with the fire support. That's really what you want to be utilizing. Whilst with the Impulsor, again, that's good, except, you know, it can disembark after moving, so they could shoot out after that, so that's good, but it's already a firing deck, and it's sort of like, you don't really need to get them out, you can just drive by with them anyway, because you're only going to have only 6 models in it, so very rarely you'd need that extra advancement movement to get in range of shooting stuff. So yeah, generally you don't see much of the Impulsor trying to be like a mobile field gun. It was like, just take a Gladiator. It's yeah, I don't think Impulsors really get as much love anymore. Repulsors themselves, it's sort of like the only option for a lot of things. I don't think I see more executioners than I do actual repulsors getting used. Because it's fine, it just doesn't, it's kind of overcosted for what it does. Because it is slow, doesn't even have a 2-up save. It's just asking to be destroyed. Like, its toughness 12 is really what's keeping it alive for the most part. And a lot of the times you aren't really going to need it to like move stuff up the field. A lot of times things can just move up themselves because it isn't adding that much to it. So I think Rhino rushings with repulsors, that's a bit of a mistake. You know, you should be able to just keep them, you know, play a bit safer and just stick to out of line of sight, or just wait for them to come to you, depending what army they have. And you should be able to get into combat that way. Crusaders are still good. I just put the Land Raider Crusader, but you can put any Land Raider in just to get the assault ramp. As we said, that's very efficient. That's very good. You want the assault ramp, especially, and the Crusader is good because, yeah, that has the 12-inch movement, so you can really get up, get a good charge out of a Crusader or a Redeemer. I think the Crusader is the cheapest one, so yeah, if the goal is just to get a charge out of a transport, the Crusader is the way to go. Definitely. So yeah, that's how you sort of got a Rhino Rush with Space Marines now. It's not as straightforward as it used to be. But yeah, good options there. And it's also the same for the Blood Angels, Death Watch, Space Wolves. None of them really have any other better way of doing Rhino Rush, which is surprising because Space Wolves, I really thought that's like an older thing for them. They had the Iron Wolves detachment back in was it Arcs of Omen? Yeah, it was Arcs of Omen, I'm pretty sure. No, Gathering Storm. The end of 7th or whatever. You had that fun Iron Wolves detachment where you could assault out of rhinos as if you were like World Eaters, and that was pretty cool. I like that for the Space Wolves. But yeah, if you're going to be doing it, this is how you should be doing that now. Tau. Tau is a really fun one. I think this is a bit of a sleeper that people aren't really utilizing enough. You can pretty much pick any of the, the Kayuns or the Mon card, because as you can see, each of them has a stratagem that goes for this. For either, getting that extra movement for Moncar, or getting the stuff back on the transport. And of course, lethals or, sustained. It's whatever choice. The other thing is you can grade a good with the Devilfish. So you get your Devilfish out, and then it's going to be guiding for what comes out. So it's already getting that +1 to the ballistic skill. And as you can see here, we've got a breacher team. So they've been inside that Devilfish. That Devilfish has just, come up. It's gotten out with its pulse blasters. If you take the Fireblade with it, that's an extra shot from all of them. They've been guided, so they're hitting on 2s. And yeah, that's it. And if you're going for an objective marker, that's strength 6, which is good strength. Good strength for a lot of stuff, especially for anti-infantry, and you're just gonna blast the hell out of it. It's only AP 1, but you've got so many shots with this now. And yeah, you don't even need to spend a CP for this. You can just have all these breacher teams and these Devilfish just do this all at once. You're not really limited. Oh yeah, in the combat demarcation. Yeah, so you get the reroll the wound as well. But of course, if you're not even within the objective marker, so you got a fun way to do that as well. So I feel Tau can really do this. A lot of Tau stuff I see is mostly people doing a lot of just battlesuit spam. But yeah, I think they're really sleeping on what you can do with the Devilfish. You are a bit limited because, like I say, you can only put like breaches or fire warriors or the scout guys. There isn't a lot of things you can put inside a transport for Tau, but I feel it's alright. I feel, and it's not too expensive. You can then have some support like heavy weapons sort of around, even battle suits, just to strike in, deal some heavy damage, and just have these Devilfish. And Devilfish are still pretty good, because they got 13 wounds, toughness 9. That's pretty good. That's better than a Rhino. So I feel, Tau can really Devilfish Rhino Rush pretty well. I haven't seen it really done much, but I feel it's something people are missing out on. People need to be doing this more than they are. And lastly, our Votan, my lovely space dwarfs. So yeah, of course, not a lot of real support for this. I had to sort of really go into it and break down how to do this effectively. Because, you could use either detachment, the new one, the Hearthband, or just their basic one. So yeah, I'd say getting the hit roll, because of course getting the extra reroll to hit when you're close, and that's how you get close. You come out of a Sagittar or the Land Fortress, and you're getting that bonus hit roll or whatever. It's got the extra AP if you've got a Carl attached, which you definitely should. The other thing is, of course, you've got your Hearthkin Warriors. You can split them up into Sagittar, so you can easily have 3 Hearthkin Warriors in like 6 squads, 6 Sagittars with their scout, and they're just running around, grabbing the objectives and just holding it. And yeah, advancing and then coming out of it. So you can be really effective at just grabbing everything early on with your Leagues of Votan, with your Hearthkin Warriors. Now, your Hearthguard themselves, I feel that's going to be pretty effective because you want to come out of the land fortress, get that reroll to wound. If you're using disintegrators, you got dev wounds. And of course, being Hearthguard, you know, the AP 1 on that as well. That's super cool. And then, yeah, using the strat, the Fury of the Hearth, to get rapid fire. So now you've got even more plasma shots, or even, yeah, you're doubling your plasma shots if you take the plasma, or getting the extra chance to dev wound with the disintegrator. So that can be really effective. That's probably how I would play it. Try and get the land fortresses in to deal devastating wounds with the disintegrators, and just having a Sagittar just running around, grabbing every objective, and just getting out of dodge. So it's definitely a way to play. There isn't a lot of... I mean, there are many ways to play them, but I feel the Rhino Rush is sort of what you got to go for Leagues of Votann, but we really don't have a lot of other options. I mean, the Pioneers, they're great. Pioneer spam is definitely a good option, but this sort of feels more like what I think they want you to do with Leagues of Votann. I think they want you to play them as if you were doing Overlords from Sigma, where you've just got planes that just fly over things, grab it, whatever. So yeah, you're deceptively fast and responsive as Leagues of Votann. Yeah, you've got your stuff that does the big army hitter. You could use the extra frame ones as well. That would be pretty good with the reroll to wound out of the land fortress. But I feel the Hearthguard, specifically in this detachment, if you took the other one, maybe the other guys would be better. But yeah, you could do it either way. So yeah, there's some fun options for going full Rhino Rush with Votann. I think that's pretty effective. So yeah, going through the list. So let's just do a quick recap. Leagues of Votann, should you Rhino Rush? Yes. Tau? Yes. Space Marines? Yeah, kinda, to an extent. Orcs? Yeah. It's gonna be okay, but yeah. Necrons? I'd say yes. I'd say try and do this Rhino Rush strat. I think it's good. I'd say yes. Genestealer cults, like I said, it's more I like it. Is there better ways to do it with, like, because with this way you can't really utilize their whole that deep striking with the hidden blip mechanic and everything. But yeah, it's an okay for Genestealer cults. Drakari, yes, you have to. Just straight yes, you do. Chaos Space Marine, yeah, you can. It's whatever. Up to you. Astra Militarum, I'd say yes. I think it's a really good option. I think it's the most thematic. I think it's the most fun way to play Guard, is to Rhino Rush, Chimera Rush, in this case, Torx Rush, whatever. I think that's a good choice. Eldari, yes. Very much yes, you should. Because they are essentially very infantry. You can mass infantry really well with Eldari, but they are squishy, so having the Wave Serpent, having the Falcon is very much needed. Adeptus Sororitas, Assistance Battle, yes. No matter what you do, yes, you should be Rhino Rushing, yes. 100%. Adeptus Mechanicus, yes. I'd say yes. Definitely try and Rhino Rush. I think it's good. You can't really use the cult stuff to get inside the... You have to go Skitarii, is pretty much the restriction there. You can't bring many of the other cult Mechanicus stuff. It's just Skitarii stuff you gotta bring. But, why wouldn't you just bring that? And Custodes... Yeah, you can. You can. Should you? Maybe. There's one I have to say about that. So, yeah, hopefully you've learnt a bit about Rhino Rushing tactics. Hopefully you can use this information to better yourselves. Let's make Rhino Rushing great again. That's all I really want. I miss it from the old days, back when I could it was in 7th, and I used my it was the White Scars detachment thing, and you'd get out of a transport, you get out of the Rhino, you'd shoot, and then you'd make a run roll to get back into it. And I'd run 2 Rhinos, I'd put them butt to butt so you couldn't hit their rear armor, and that would drive around the battlefield, get out, drive-by shoot, get back in, drive off. It was super fun to do back in the day. So I'd love to see that more. I'd love to see bigger battlefields again more. Because I feel if we had more transports, if we were encouraged, you'd want to play 6x4 again. It might be a bit lost with the smaller battlefield. But, yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of ways to really do damage through Rhino Rush for specific armies. But, yeah, well, that's the end of this one. So, let me know what you think below. What's your favorite way of Rhino Rushing? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.